with Singapore's award-winning news and business team.
This is CNA938. Understand Asia.
Now, Asia First with Arnold Gay and Yasmin Yonkers.
Good morning. It's 6 o'clock. Calls for foreign interference create a constitutional crisis in the United States.
We talk about luring tech talent from Silicon Valley. How likely is that?
And we'll also talk movie making, ilo, and unlikely friendships. All that coming up after the news. US President Donald Trump is nudging China to investigate his political rival Joe Biden. It looks set to deepen the controversy over alleged foreign interference in the country. While he hasn't asked China to open an investigation, Mr. Trump says he can ask his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping to do so. President Trump is already facing an impeachment inquiry. That's over a conversation with the Ukrainian president to investigate Mr. Biden and his son. Meantime, Vice President Mike Pence has defended Mr. Trump. He also echoes his call for foreign powers to investigate the Bidens. Mr. Pence says he thinks Americans have a right to know if Mr. Biden or his family profited from his position as vice president during the last administration.
I mean, the fact that my predecessor had a son who was paid $50,000 a month to be on a Ukrainian board at the time that Vice President Biden was leading the Obama administration's efforts in Ukraine, I think is worth looking into. And the president made it very clear that he believes our other nations around the world should look into it as well. And clearly in this case, there are legitimate questions that ought to be asked. And we're going to continue to ask them since the American people have a right to know.
And that's the U.S. Vice President Mike Pence.
A North Korean delegation headed by the country's chief nuclear negotiator Kim Myong-gil is in Sweden's capital Stockholm. Sources familiar with the matter say it's for denuclearization talks with the U.S. This comes shortly after Pyongyang confirmed that it had successfully test-fired a submarine-launched ballistic missile. It's hailed the achievement of the Pukgongsong-3 missile as a new phase in its defense capabilities.
More clashes took place in Hong Kong between protesters and police overnight, this time in the upper middle-class neighborhood of Tai Kwu. Local media report that at least 2 people were detained. The protesters had gathered as part of a rally in protest of the Hong Kong government's plan to invoke an emergency law to ban face masks at public assemblies. It stayed government efforts to quell worsening unrest in the city. The law could come into effect as early as later today, and that's after Chief Executive Carrie Lam holds a special session of her Executive Council.
Taiwan is considering a ban on mainland Chinese visitors in support of Hong Kong protesters. The move will be aimed at those targeting activists and vandalizing messages of support on the so-called Lenin walls. Taiwanese immigration officials say they will look into complaints on such actions and bar guilty parties from returning. President Tsai Ing-wen gave the order for agencies to impose the restrictions on Thursday. She says Taiwan is ruled by law and will never tolerate such acts. At least 6 Taiwanese universities have reported vandalism of their on-campus Lenin walls. It's believed to have been done by mainland students.
With Singapore's port playing a critical role in the country's economy, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong says the new Tuas megaport will be an opportunity to integrate new innovations and upscale operations so as to retain a competitive edge. He made the comments at the container terminal's groundbreaking event yesterday. When it's completed in the 2040s, it will become the world's largest fully automated container terminal.